Today, we're going to talk about a story that is as terrifying as it is inspiring. It's about a chance encounter, an absolutely unthinkable crime, and the incredible, incredible will to survive against all odds. This is the story of Jennifer Asbenson, and she is the only person known to have survived the serial killer Andrew Urdiales. And we're going to start with the chillingly calm words of the attacker himself. This isn't some dramatic retelling. No, this is his own account of the moment a 19-year-old's life was just thrown into absolute terror. This is where it all begins. So, let's set the scene here. Our story starts with a moment of vulnerability that, honestly, so many of us can imagine. You miss the bus, you're late from your shift, and what looks like a helping hand shows up. It's a scenario that feels so ordinary, right up until the moment it's not. So, you've got Jennifer. She's only 19 years old, working a night shift with special needs children out in Palm Springs. She misses her bus home, and this man in a car pulls over. He seemed, well, harmless, small, wore glasses. He just didn't look threatening. She actually said no at first, but he insisted, and she was so worried about being late for her job again that she just gave in. She got in the car. And what's just so chilling about this is how fast it all happened. In a little over 24 hours, this casual ride turns into a full-on abduction. He asks for her number, and she gives him a fake one, just wanting the whole weird interaction to be over. But the very next morning, 6 a.m., as she's leaving work, he's there. He's waiting for her, and it becomes terrifyingly clear that this tiny act of rejection, that was the trigger. And this is the moment the mask just completely slips. As he's driving her away from the city, he brings up the fake number, and his face just transforms from this mild-mannered guy to pure rage. He screams this at her, smashes her head against the glove compartment, and pulls out a gun. He binds her hands with twine. The harmless man was gone. In his place was a monster. Dragged deep into the remote California desert, Jennifer was facing an unimaginable horror. In that moment of absolute terror, a lot of people would just be paralyzed. But what happened next was one of the most incredible displays of courage and sheer will you will ever hear about. And get this, she didn't just escape once. She had to escape twice. So out there in the middle of nowhere, the violence just escalates. After he assaults her, he goes to the trunk of his car and pulls out this brown shopping bag. It's filled with knives, all different sizes. And in that one horrifying moment, she knows. This isn't just an attack. He's going to execute her. So pure survival instinct kicks in. She bolts, running barefoot for her life into the open desert. But he's faster. He catches up to her, knocks her unconscious, and drags her back to the car. He throws her into the suffocating darkness of the trunk and tells her, "You're gonna die." And you can just imagine the panic setting in. But then, something shifts. She starts to pray, and she described this sudden, unexplainable surge of strength just flooding her body. She pulls and pulls against her bindings until the twine snaps. Working completely by feel in the pitch black, she frantically tears at the fabric inside the trunk, just searching for any kind of latch. Her fingers find a release handle and she pulls. The trunk pops open. Urdiales, furious, gets out and slams it shut, never even realizing her hands are now free. And then her chance comes. He gets the car stuck in the desert sand. That's her moment. She opens the trunk and she runs. So this is it, the final, desperate chase. She looks back and he's running after her, but now he's holding a machete. She reaches a road and flags down a car. The driver sees the man with the machete, locks the doors, and just speeds away. But Jennifer doesn't give up. In an act of pure desperation, she runs right into the middle of the road, forcing an oncoming truck to screech to a halt. Two men get out, they see what's happening, and they pull her to safety. Andrew Urdiales just gets in his car and disappears. Now, you would think that being rescued would be the end of the ordeal. But for Jennifer, the nightmare was just entering a new, devastating phase. Her physical fight for survival was over, but her fight to be believed and to get justice, that had just begun.
This part of the story is just infuriating. When the police arrive, instead of launching a manhunt for a guy with a gun and a machete, they dismiss her story. They suggest she just had a fight with her boyfriend and made the whole thing up. They take some photos of the bite marks on her neck, and then they send her home. No investigation is launched, a serial killer was free, and nobody was even looking for him.
So you've got to be asking why. Why would they dismiss her like that? Well, this is because the one person who should have been her greatest advocate, her own mother, told the police this. She completely destroyed her daughter's credibility at the most vulnerable moment of her life. Jennifer was left utterly alone, not just with her trauma, but with the terrifying knowledge that her attacker had her ID, he knew her name, and he knew where she lived.
So for 5 years, think about that, 5 years, Jennifer lived in a state of constant, heightened fear. She even slept on a roof sometimes, terrified he would come back to finish the job. She was a survivor, but she was also a prisoner of her own trauma, disbelieved by everyone. And then, 5 years later, there's a knock at the door. And that knock changed everything.
It's not the local police this time, it's the California State Police. They've arrested a man named Andrew Urdiales, a former U.S. Marine, for some other crimes. They show Jennifer a photo lineup, a page with 6 faces on it, and without a single moment of hesitation, bam, her hand shoots out and she pushes his picture forward. It's him. After 5 years of being told she was a liar, her perfect memory provides the undeniable link. So the police had Urdiales in custody, and under interrogation, he started talking. He confessed to everything, not just what he did to Jennifer, but to murder. He confessed to killing women in both Illinois and California. This is the number of women he admitted to murdering. Can you even imagine hearing these words? After 5 long years of no one believing you. The investigator confirms everything Jennifer had been saying all along. Her unbelievable story wasn't just true, it revealed the full scale of Urdiales' horror. He wasn't just an attacker, he was a prolific serial killer. And she, the woman nobody believed, was the sole survivor. This validation was really the beginning of the final chapter. Jennifer now had a choice. She could retreat with her trauma, or she could stand up, face her attacker, and make sure he could never hurt anyone else. She chose to fight, not just for herself, but for all the women who couldn't. Now, the case against Urdiales was built on his confessions and evidence, but Jennifer's testimony, that was its soul. She had to take the stand, look him in the eye, and relive every single terrifying moment. Her testimony was the only way to give a voice to the 8 women who had been silenced forever. And her bravery led to justice. Urdiales was tried separately in Illinois and California for his crimes in each state, and in both trials he was found guilty of all 8 murders. In both states, the jury delivered the ultimate sentence: death. Jennifer had faced the monster in court, and she had won. But you know, justice in a courtroom is one thing. Personal healing is a whole different journey. Jennifer's path eventually led her to a woman named Mika Moulton, another survivor who had channeled her own grief into action by starting a self-defense workshop. And through this training, Jennifer began to transform that lingering fear into physical and mental power, reclaiming a sense of safety that was stolen from her years before. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. Jennifer's story didn't end in that desert, or in that courtroom. She made a conscious choice to live a life defined not by her trauma, but by joy and by purpose. She proves that even after the deepest betrayal and horror, it is possible to not just survive, but to reclaim your life and use your voice to empower others. Her story just shows us the incredible power of the human will to live, to fight, and ultimately to find the light.